2024's The Game Awards is finally here, and it had a ton of new game announcements. Let's check out 20 of the biggest ones, starting with Rematch. Slow Clap has delivered two beloved indie hits in the form of Absolver and Sifu, with the latter in particular being a fan favorite, and it looks like the studio will keep its knack for experimentation going with its third title. Taking the stage at the Game Awards during the pre-show, or the opening act as it's now known, Slow Clap unveiled Rematch, and it's not what you may have been expecting. Rematch is a multiplayer football game that will see players diving into a 5v5 match, with the game promising immersive third-person action, skill-based gameplay, and intense online competition, as the developer describes it. Visually, meanwhile, the game bears an art style that Sifu fans will find very familiar, while the on-pitch action is looking like an intriguing mix of football tactics and arcadey action. Rematch is due out sometime in 2025 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, though a specific release date is currently unknown. Elden Ring Nightreign. Bandai Namco and From Software have announced a new Elden Ring game for launch in 2025. Yes, a new game, not an expansion like Shadow of the Erdtree. Elden Ring Nightreign is a co-op action game where players roam the lands between and take on all kinds of threats, including the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3. While the gameplay is similar to From Software's award-winning open-action RPG, there are new environments, bosses, and enemies to deal with, alongside some returning threats. Fortunately, you'll have several new tools to take them on, including a grappling hook to drag enemies close, wings to fly into the sky and strike down, and even an attack to launch yourself up for a giant overhead swing. If that wasn't enough, a new spirit summon allows for flying rapidly. Elden Ring Nightreign will be available for Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and PC. The Witcher 4. It was back in 2022 that CD Projekt Red announced it had started production on the next Witcher game under the codename Project Polaris, while as recently as last month, the studio confirmed that the project had entered full production. Now the game has also finally been formally unveiled. At the Game Awards, CD Projekt showcased a 6-minute cinematic reveal trailer for The Witcher 4. The new action RPG will star a new protagonist in the form of Ciri, who of course had a major role to play in The Witcher 3 as well. The trailer sees Ciri traveling to a village haunted by deadly monsters, attempting to stop a ritual sacrifice and taking on a nightmarish beast. The trailer is a pre-rendered one, with footage running on Unreal Engine 5 and, interestingly enough, runs on an unannounced NVIDIA GeForce RTX GPU. Though actual gameplay is not shown, CD Projekt Red says in its press release that the trailer uses assets and models from the game itself. "We're kicking off a brand new Witcher saga, this time with Ciri as the heart of the story," said game director Sebastian Kalemba. "It feels so good to finally be able to say those words. For the longest time, we knew that we wanted Ciri to be the protagonist of The Witcher 4. It just felt natural to us, and we believe that Ciri deserves it. In this game, we want to explore what it means to truly become a Witcher by following Ciri on her path." This trailer is a taste of both that and just how dark and grounded the world of The Witcher can be. No platforms or release window have been announced for The Witcher 4. As previously confirmed, it will be the beginning of a new trilogy. Split Fiction. Following many leaks and teases, Hazelight Studios' Split Fiction was finally announced at the Game Awards 2024. Director Josef Fares took to the stage and revealed the first gameplay of the upcoming co-op title, which stars Zoe and Mio, named after his daughters. They're two writers entering a simulation to bring their stories to life, but of course, things go wrong. They find themselves in each other's simulations, mixing sci-fi and fantasy worlds. They'll have to work together to escape, and in classic Hazelight fashion, that means tons of different gameplay mechanics. You can hatch dragons who grow to become full-fledged tools of destruction, use ball droids to climb walls, and transform into exosuits. Split Fiction is out on March 6, 2025 for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. It will include a Friends Pass, so you'll only need a single copy to play with friends. Project Century. Ryuga Kotoku Studio is not only working on a new Virtua Fighter, but they're also working on a new game set in 1915. Titled Project Century for now, it sees our protagonists making their way towards a crowded area before getting into fights with various kinds of NPCs. The concept certainly seems intriguing, and we can't wait to see more of the game in the future. Fumito Ueda's next game. Among all the surprising announcements at the Game Awards, few probably expected Gen Design to reveal its next game. Currently untitled and helmed by Fumito Ueda of Shadow of the Colossus, Ico, and The Last Guardian, it's published by Epic Games and seemingly takes place in a post-apocalyptic sci-fi setting. The teaser sees an individual climbing a giant robot as a timer counts down to a shockwave. They see it coming from a distance and eventually clamber up the robot's head, activating it and lifting off to avoid the calamity. Or rather just barely as they're swept up at the last second. There's not too much else to go off, but the new title will be available for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via the Epic Game Store. A release date is still to come, but with this teaser seemingly featuring real gameplay, it should be interesting to see how things pan out. Borderlands 4 new trailer. Gearbox CEO took the stage at the Game Awards to reveal the first gameplay of Borderlands 4, launching in 2025 for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. More importantly, we're introduced to the 4 new playable Vault Hunters alongside some of their abilities. The story focuses on the Timekeeper and a world-altering catastrophe which causes chaos on Kairos, a new planet. Players will presumably have to stop him using billions of new weapons to deep his Vault Hunter skill trees and a world more dynamic than ever. You also get new vehicles which can be summoned anywhere to explore and even partake in races. Co-op returns and supports up to 4 players. There's no release date aside from not launching close to Grand Theft Auto 6, but Borderlands 4 is touted as the most ambitious title in the series. If nothing else, the reveal trailer doesn't indulge too much in the humor, which caused much ire in Borderlands 3. New Virtua Fighter revealed. Fighting game franchises have been thriving in recent years, but not all the classics have been active. Sega's Virtua Fighter franchise has seen some re-releases here and there, though a new mainline installment hasn't been forthcoming in over a decade. Not too long ago, it was confirmed that a new Virtua Fighter game had entered development. And now, that's been formally unveiled. At the Game Awards, Sega and developer Ryoga Kotoku Studios offered a first official look at the next Virtua Fighter game. The fighter's official title wasn't announced and gameplay wasn't showcased, with the trailer just showing a handful of seconds of pre-rendered cinematic footage. But if nothing else, at least now it's officially confirmed that a new mainline Virtua Fighter is finally on the way. More details on the next Virtua Fighter game will be shared imminently in a dedicated direct presentation, which is scheduled for December 13th at 12 AM Eastern. Turok Origins. The Turok franchise is back, courtesy of Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 developer Saber Interactive, but it's not what you'd expect. Turok Origins is a co-op experience with a solo option, where players control legendary Turok warriors to fight against hordes of dinosaurs and aliens, including bosses. Players must traverse the Lost Lands utilizing an array of weapons like sniper rifles, shotguns, plasma rifles, bows, and hatchets. You can upgrade them throughout and even take the DNA from enemies for your new powers. As you unlock new abilities, your suit will evolve in real time, which will be useful given the sheer number of threats attacking on the ground and in the air. There are various planets to explore, with unique locations like canyons, caves, and more to explore. Turok Origins doesn't have a launch date or even a release window, but it's coming to Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. Onimusha: Way of the Sword announced. From a remaster in 2018 to an anime adaptation a couple of years ago, there have been a couple of indications in recent years that the developer is looking to do new things with the long-dormant Onimusha franchise. And now, a revival has finally been confirmed. After years of demands from fans, Onimusha is coming back. At the Game Awards, Onimusha: Way of the Sword, an entirely new entry in the action game franchise, was revealed. The trailer with which the game was announced was a brief one, though it did showcase glimpses of the combat, the period Japanese setting, and some of the monsters and enemies that players will be locking horns with. Visually and aesthetically, it's looking like an exciting evolution of the series, though as you might imagine, there's not that much that's revealed in the brief trailer. Onimusha: Way of the Sword is due out sometime in 2026. It will be available for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The first Berserker Kazan release date. As recently rumored, Nexon's The First Berserker Kazan will launch on March 27, 2025 for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. It sees protagonist Kazan collapsing in a snowy field before the Blade Phantom possesses his body, granting strength. From there, it's a bloodbath as he slays one foe after another. Despite the more realistic visuals, The First Berserker Kazan features an animated aesthetic, though it's still very brutal. Taking place before the events of Dungeon and Fighter, it features the disgraced General Kazan embarking on a path of vengeance after betrayal at the hands of the Pellos Empire. Players utilize a variety of weapons, from a dual-wield sword and axe to a spear and greatsword. Each has unique abilities, while the gameplay focuses on parrying, dodging, and striking enemies. Dying Light: The Beast launches summer of 2025. Dying Light: The Beast piqued our curiosity when it was announced earlier this year, and as promised at the Game Awards, we got another look at the upcoming first-person zombie-slaying title. As previously announced, The Beast will bring back Kyle Crane, the protagonist of the original Dying Light, and finally allow fans to catch up on the story of the fan-favorite character. He'll be going up against the Baron, the game's main villain, who is described as an emotionless, calculating, but brilliant scientist, and the biggest threat Kyle Crane has ever faced. A release window was also announced for the game. Dying Light: The Beast will launch in summer of 2025 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Den of Wolves new gameplay. Indie team 10 Chambers won over its fair share of fans with the co-op horror shooter GTFO, so when it unveiled a new multiplayer shooter in the form of Den of Wolves at the Game Awards last year, it certainly turned plenty of heads. A year later, the Game Awards 2024, the studio took the stage once again to offer another look at the title. Den of Wolves will see players playing with and against each other in fast-paced, adrenaline-fueled heists, with the action looking exactly the right kind of tactical and explosive. For fans of Grand Theft Auto and Payday's multiplayer heist action, Den of Wolves is looking like an intriguing prospect, to say the very least, while the visuals are also looking impressive. Den of Wolves is in development for PC. A release date is currently unknown, but it's confirmed that whenever it launches, the game will be available in early access first. Mafia: The Old Country, out in summer of 2025. A new trailer from Mafia: The Old Country was promised for the Game Awards and, unfortunately, leaked ahead of the show. At the show, the trailer was, of course, officially unveiled as well, offering a new look at the upcoming action-adventure title. Mafia: The Old Country will, unlike its predecessors, be a linear experience. Described as a narrative-driven title, it will star a new protagonist named Enzo, and set in 1920 Sicily. And it will tell the story of the roots of the organized crime with a compelling new cast of characters. After enduring a childhood of indentured labor in Sicily's sulfur mines, Enzo swears an oath and joins Don Teresi's crime family, following which, things only grow more violent and complicated with time, as you might imagine. Mafia: The Old Country is a love letter to old-style gritty mafia stories where players can uncover the origins of organized crime, said developer Hangar 13's president Nick Baines. Everyone at Hangar 13 is committed to creating the most authentic and intense story of the franchise, and we can't wait for players to experience the journey with Enzo. Mafia: The Old Country launches in summer of 2025 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Sonic Racing Crossworlds announced, Shadow the Hedgehog teased. The Sonic Racing franchise is making a comeback with Sonic Racing Crossworlds. In a cinematic teaser even shorter than Virtua Fighters, we see a kart with black and red colors, with Shadow the Hedgehog walking up and hopping in. He then takes off into the city streets and yeah, that's really it. There's no release window, but it is coming to Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC, and the Nintendo Switch. The title and tease of New Roads Await could indicate crossing dimensions or maybe multiple timelines. It wouldn't be the first time that the Sonic franchise has dabbled in either aspect, as Sonic Rush and Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 have showcased. The last title in the franchise was Team Sonic Racing, available in 2019. Despite above-average reviews, it sold fairly well for Sega. Okami 2 announced. Okami is finally getting a sequel. The untitled title doesn't have a release window or platforms. The trailer description notes that this is a new adventure in a similar vein to the first game. It may be a while before the title launches, with development recently kicking off under a new studio, Clover's, a resurrection of sort for the original's developer. In the meantime, Okami is available for Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PS4, and PC. Crimson Desert launches late 2025. We've seen an awful lot of Crimson Desert gameplay footage over the last several weeks and months, and at the Game Awards, developer Pearl Abyss offered another look at the mammoth open-world action-adventure title, and unsurprisingly, it's continuing to look impressive. Chief among Crimson Desert's apparent strengths has been the sheer variety of gameplay in all that we've seen of it so far, and that seems to be the theme with this trailer as well. From combat and a variety of different enemy types to unique traversal mechanics, including riding wyverns through the air, to a number of locations scattered throughout the game's large open world map and the many side activities that players will encounter. There's plenty that's showcased. Crimson Desert will launch for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC sometime in Q4 of 2025. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth launches for PC on January 23rd. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth launched earlier this year as a PS5 exclusive, but after it failed to make the sort of commercial impact that the developer wanted, the publisher confirmed that it would be shifting to a multi-platform strategy going forward. And soon, Rebirth will also be going open world. At the Game Awards, the developer announced that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming to PC soon. The open-world action RPG will launch for the platform on January 23rd, and will feature support for DLSS and VRR, and tout improved lighting, textures, modeling, and more. Palworld Faebreak Update. Pocket Pair promised a massive new update coming to Palworld soon, and it revealed the same at the Game Awards 2024. Faebreak adds a new island, 6 times the size of Sakurajima, featuring several new PAL species and a new faction leader when it launches on December 23rd. The faction leader in question is capable of tossing large PALs around willy-nilly. He also has a new lion-like PAL that he spars with day and night. Of course, it's not long before the player comes across them and promptly begins battle. Based on the trailer, there's a new armor set and weapons to unleash on foes. Pocket Pair also promises new buildings and mechanics, with a robot emoji, perhaps indicating fresh automation tools. Killing Floor 3 gets new trailer revealing March 2025 release window. Developer Tripwire Interactive has released a new trailer for Killing Floor 3, which also happens to announce the game's release window of March 2025. This announcement matches up with previous reports of the studio aiming to release Killing Floor 3 before March 31st of 2025. The trailer gives us a short glimpse at the fast-paced zombie-killing gameplay that the Killing Floor franchise has become known for at this point, while also giving us a hint at the series' story continuing in strange ways, and some of the new horrors that players will get to face. The studio has also announced that sign-ups for the upcoming title's closed beta are available now. Much like its predecessor, Killing Floor 3 will allow players to take on its challenges solo or in co-op with up to 5 other players. The game will feature what the studio is calling the most lethal zombies yet, and players will have access to a host of new weapons and tools to deal with the threat. The Outer Worlds 2 launches in 2025. Microsoft officially announced The Outer Worlds 2 back in 2021, and at the Game Awards, we got our first look at the game since then, with the new trailer debuting gameplay footage for the upcoming first-person sci-fi RPG sequel. Touting the Outer Worlds' trademark humorous tone, the trailer states that The Outer Worlds 2, which took nearly thrice as long to develop as the first game, will be twice as big as its predecessor was, and will also feature plenty more weapons, action, and plenty of visual and technical enhancements. Interestingly enough, Microsoft have also confirmed that The Outer Worlds 2 will be a multi-platform game at launch and will be available for PS5, joining the likes of Doom: The Dark Ages as first-party Microsoft titles that launch for multiple platforms. The Outer Worlds 2 is due out sometime in 2025 for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. Intergalactic. Naughty Dog's Intergalactic's in-engine cinematic reveal trailer showcases the game's spacefaring sci-fi setting and the protagonist named Jordan, who is a lone bounty hunter flying through the ship in her red, brightly colored vessel. The game will star Tati Gabrielle as the aforementioned protagonist and is in development for PS5. Though a release date or window hasn't been announced, the game has been in development since 2020 and isn't the only major single-player title in the works at Naughty Dog. So hopefully, it won't be too long before we also learn about The Last of Us Part 3. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.